Hello everyone, this is Ninja DC, joining again from the React videos and from MLP Season 8, Episode 24. Joining me again is a herd of bronies.
Hello all you ponies, I'm a herd of bronies. Welcome to the semi-finale of Let's Watch Season 8.
Yay!
That's oddly depressing, even though my feelings in the season.
Oh.
No, we don't want to be depressed. Come on! It's multicolored horses. What can go wrong?
Well,
famous last words, they love her. Famous last words.
Card before the pounds.
With Sasha on my team, how could anything go wrong?
Alright. Next up, Carlos.
Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Pony Court. My name is Gunmetal Gator, but you can call me Gun Gray for short because literally that is the shade of color that you should be thinking of when you think of my name. I hope you all are having a fine day here, and I seriously hope Season 8 won't depress us any further, especially with the good track record of episodes we've been getting recently.
All right, next up, Jenn.
Hello, everyone. I am Jenn, and ready to watch. There goes my train of thought.
Take two.
Yay! Yeah, there goes that. Hello, everyone. I'm Jenn, ready to watch Season 8. How's that?
Short, sweet, and to the point.
Perfect. Perfect. I had something all elaborate planned, and then all of a sudden it just went like kaput.
No.
Somebody write me a catchphrase, please.
How about I don't have a catchphrase?
It's perfect!
I'm sure the one's already taken.
It's probably. Yeah, probably.
All right. Next up, Dale Everett second.
On the hype train. No?
Why
You're
not?
You're not going to jump on to the hype train? Oh, what was that sad of a kiss? Come on.
Okay, they're not here to watch us. Not for free, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Donations will be taken at the link down below, if there is a link.
Are we running a Patreon now?
This is now a new trend. Support the pages for them to continue on towards their happily progression. That's the new way of the internet.
Oh, and I forgot. Eat a room, you kids!
Yeah, that's your catchphrase.
There it is. That's it.
Yeah.
There it is. That's it.
Is it wrong that I'm kind of just counting how much it's going to depress me at this point?
Oh no, don't be depressed.
Well, Season 8 is kind of like past any and all. And I think it has, like I said last week, just the slightest chance of catching up to Season 6 as other seasons go.
We can definitely say that. We can definitely say this. It's not. It'd have to pull something amazing if it even has a. You know what? No, it doesn't. I don't think it has a chance of catching to season 4.
Well, Season 6, I had it at 4 great episodes. Season 6, Season 8. Counting the last 2, I have 2.
Okay, so it's halfway there. So this
and the finale need to be great for it to catch up on my card, but then there's still all the episodes I didn't like Season 6. I know it had Cart Before the Ponies and Applejack's Day Off, but this had Yakety Sax, Mod Couple.
Oh Lord! Oh my God!
And all those ones that were just like. I don't care if I ever see them again or not, but just
so they're putting them on your hype train, and they're going to go.
Although now, thanks to Day Lover, I can't look at Mudbriar without laughing.
Yes.
Well, that's something. All right. Well, there you go. When life hands you lemons, it'll come out tomorrow. All that jazz. We're going to have a good time. Let's do it.
All right. Is everyone ready?
Yes, we have a good time together. So there.
There you go.
All right. Does everyone have the episode up?
Yes.
All right. Everyone press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Who's ready to watch a bad episode?
All right.
Really?
Alex.
I've not heard good things about it.
Alex.
Not really.
Alex
Well,
is the only one
I
who
almost have
saw
to
this
take that
episode
one
ahead
with
of
a grain
Not
time.
even
of salt.
started. Come on,
Is
you
it
guys.
crazy? Is it crazy that I forgot Spike had wings?
Yeah, Spike is
It's not crazy.
getting flying lessons. That's cute.
Looks like it. They've kept that on the side. But
Mhm.
no, like I heard this episode is bad. Like I take that with a
Do a
grain of
barrel
salt.
roll,
Sometimes
Spike.
it just means that they're keeping quote unquote
Spike.
mean spirited. That by which the person saying mean spirited actually means realistic.
Hmm.
Oh,
Mhm.
So far, it seems really realistic.
Dang.
oh dear.
No
I like how she
lies.
like you can
No,
tell
you're
she was
going to get
holding in a
hurt,
laugh.
Spike.
Come on, Spike, barrel
You
roll.
can do it.
Come on,
Okay,
easy.
Twilight's having
Power roll.
flashbacks, yeah, just like Rainbow Dash did for her.
Come on.
Well, here's strike one. Spike seemingly forgot how to fly, even though he's shown to have known how to fly before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when he was fighting the Rock, he was stumbling around a little bit.
Aww.
Oh, really?
Hey, I'm in this episode now.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
This is a good hint. Having Smolder involved with Spike episode.
Yay, we can fly now.
Yeah, she's got a
Whoa.
point there.
That was quick.
Also, going back to what I was trying to say earlier, maybe it wasn't a good idea to practice next to a very sharp building.
Probably not. Although Spike, we've seen he can jam pins into himself and not feel any pain.
Yeah. Or he can eat the gems, right?
Wait, what was the tip for how to flap his wings?
You just need to bend it.
Yeah, they're more angular.
Aww.
Yeah. Bird versus pterodactyl wings.
Yeah. Oh, Twilight. It's okay. Oh my god, Spike. Way to take me out, episode.
It begins.
I took some
Okay, well,
hints.
Disney, are they trying to do the episode that Dragon Quest should have been?
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm thinking so.
Oof. Second, be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
Yeah. The one thing going from what I heard about this episode, I hear there's a lot of cringe.
Really?
A lot of cringe.
Imagine like the Equestria Games anthem.
Oh, great. Now that's usually accurate. You know what? I've seen
this is
Yak
Equestria
Jacks
Games Part
bring it on.
2.
Well, I mean, like if it was Equestria Games Part 2, you would be hearing me being like, Valhalla episode, you guys don't understand
Spike
the
is-
great. Dang. It's a comic.
Oh, watch out for it.
It's a meteor.
It's a meteor, yeah.
Well, now you don't use that pillow at all.
Aw. And
Oh, dragon.
hello there. Hey, look, it's the
Lush.
Power Rangers Dino Charge main villain.
He fell from the sky.
Wow. I don't think Smolder is a baby dragon.
Well, at least now we have the explanation
Oh,
for
really?
that term being
Baby
used on
dragons
Spike.
when you act?
He still didn't seem that young. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
What's wrong with him? Why is he like?
I crippled my wings.
Okay.
I think the idea is that he does, in fact, need help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Only do enough. Aw. Flame
Nice.
on, Cass. Angel Bunny. It's like, where's my cushion? Oh my god!
That dragon made a very bad enemy today.
Yes. And also, dragons constantly have to use dog beds.
Hey, wait, am I inadvertently helping you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was quick.
Dang.
Oh.
Pinky using the power of sweets.
Well, I'll give
That
Pinkie
works.
Pie the edge in strategy over Applejack.
Yeah, I wonder if this is how she
Oh,
trained
seriously?
on.
Why would the Wonderbolts do that?
They
Yeah.
would. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's friends. They help each other, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Ooh.
Come on, Pinky.
seem they've been willing to do some types of favors.
Go, Pinky. Okay. Say hello to the one portion of Pinkie Pie that I actually liked this season. Or, actually not like.
Oh, that motivated him to fly.
Baby.
Pinky for the win.
Heck yeah!
Yeah.
Yummy.
Huh. He doesn't understand gratitude. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Oh.
Mm.
Hmm. No, you're not. No.
Okay,
Oh.
Pinky, that is totally appropriate.
Welcome to the episode of Dragons.
Hell!
Ah. Oh, really? They're actually seriously going to go here?
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, heavy question coming in.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, they've been there. Yeah. Cool. Hmm.
Yeah.
Come on, it's sounding more suspicious.
Wait, this is now reminding me about Skyterra, that one CGI animated series from 2006.
I don't.
Definitely seems
Yeah.
like there's at least some lie in there.
Yeah, Spike is going to fall for
Yeah,
it.
True.
Wow, look at everyone being actually attentive.
Does anyone buy this? Because I don't know if I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like there's definitely a lie in there. It's just whether there's a lie in there or it's all a lie.
Well, it could be interesting if, like, some of it was the truth and wasn't a lie. So.
Oh my god. Spike.
Wishlet.
Oh.
What? What's Dragonness?
Time to play some football.
Yeah.
Hey, Granny Smith's the referee. Cool.
Hey, that's cheating.
Well, he stalled it out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, look.
Apparently time is passing.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where...
Well, it seems like they're doing good, though.
Alright, that makes more sense than
catching up on performings.
Oh.
Oh, no. That looks good.
Yummy.
Oh, I want cupcakes.
I'm the only one who thinks you could do better as sweets go than cupcakes.
But it looks good, though.
Honestly, I
Cupcakes are like the
cake.
potato chip of sweets.
Oh,
prefer
okay, okay.
cake
We'll
over
get you
cupcakes.
a muffin.
Sugar cookies.
I'm gonna pass on that.
Ew.
Oddly, not too inaccurate.
Yeah.
Love you too, Dad.
So, okay, now this is starting to work its way towards that Generation 1 Spike episode where he meets a bunch of thug dragons who tell him they're going to teach him how to be a dragon, which, except instead of like Dragon Quest where it's like, okay, dragons just suck, you should be grateful that the ponies let you be a servant, it's more like who your real family is.
Oh, song coming in.
Say hello to Cringe Town.
Yeah. Why not? What are you doing with this book? Stop that.
And Twilight has a heart attack.
Yeah.
The rarity plushie.
Yeah. Oh my god. Where's Spike? Is that?
No, don't burn it.
Nice movie continuity.
It can't be replaced. Come on.
Honestly, I've seen cringy songs. I don't think this is a cringy song.
No.
It just seems like a montage that they added a slight rhythm to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a point to the things he's singing. It's like...
Yeah.
I mean, like, you compare it to... Oh, granted, this is going pretty negative to make a point, but to, like, the Failure song from Crystal Empire, that is the definition of singing just to sing, and not having a single thing worth the attention of people with brain cells.
Oh, God.
I want to brush my teeth right
well, there's
now.
a little cringe there.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I want to go and look at like
We just
her
threw the
face.
bathtub out without checking to see if someone was in it.
Yeah.
I want to. My missus.
Making me
I'm
think
going to go
about,
look
like,
at
the
her
guy
face.
from-
Was hilarious.
Simpsons. No, no, no. Yeah, there we go.
Scene transition. Draw me
Oh,
More than when you usually see him.
I expect Rule 34 parody images of that.
oh my gosh.
Oh God.
No.
I was expecting to find my son, not this adult.
I don't. A hot dog wrap. Is it?
No, that sounds wrong. Oh, what?
This is not
Why?
Just sprawling on the table. Ugh. Ugh.
I just imagine a map popping out like in the next episode and like hurting him badly.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't. If you told me this is where it becomes cringe, I would believe you.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure, Spike?
Mm-hmm.
I do know what you're saying.
Oh dear.
And that was
Oh.
the Sparkle's heart broke.
That was a little
That was
out of
harsh.
nowhere.
Ooh.
Okay.
I felt
really
that
like how
scene should have
Twilight.
been longer.
Yeah, I really like though how Twilight didn't overreact to that.
Yeah.
That look of concern.
That's his fault.
Oh. Please tell him the truth. Yeah, here we go.
Wow, even they have standards above that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, reprise.
And this is better than to change a changeling now.
It's the pillow.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
No, I mean like Spike singing in the season.
Yeah.
Now you just threw it all away relatively easy.
When you offend a dragon, you know you've gone way too far.
Yeah. Pony Town.
I'm still new at this relating to people thing.
Yeah, I certainly have grown up ever since Meltdown.
Yeah.
Still concerned.
Great big phony.
Oh.
Dang.
Oh my.
We need cushions in life, man.
Yes, you do.
And it just
Because
got sick.
cushions are love. Cushions are life.
Oh.
They're going to pillage Ponyville for their pillow, right?
Exactly.
I will say one thing: this episode is nowhere near as cringy as I thought it was from what I've heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
That wasn't. I was like, "Where's the cringe? Where's the cringe?"
It's not
and
as
then
bad
it was
as that.
It was just that one scene where Twilight walks in and Sludge is like, is in that pose. That's not even like really cringy, but it's funny.
It's a standard gag.
The fan work from that is cringy.
The fan work that's going to come from that is going to be super cringy.
You know, the streak of great episodes. I mean, no, it didn't keep that up, but I mean, this is just kind of your standard Josh Haber episodes. Like he's good at not making the characters overreact to shortcut to the point. Like nobody flips out or says something in really deliberate voices to make something more obvious than it needs to be, and a lot of it feels like what they would do. I mean, I guess it's just. I mean, but you can see. I guess the biggest critique I could make is that you can see where it sort of passes up its chance to really swing for the fence, like on the whole thing with like who's Spike's real parents. Instead of kind of digging its claws into that, the whole thing was just fairly brief and moderately well done.
I could safely say from like my prior experience watching this episode beforehand, this episode wasn't really cringe. It's more of like, maybe I was feeling a bit cringe, but not from like typical cringe from like say like a song or something. Just like, I was expecting something. I mean, then again, it went for like the usual result, but it was like, why did they have to tease us with actual like flashcards of like showcasing like a fictional Spike mother? Like, tell me. And also,
so I guess it wouldn't be so clear that this guy was lying. That they like instead of making your face palm the whole time at how is anybody buying this, it's like more. Okay, where is this going? Is he going to be partly lying? Is he going to be completely lying?
I'm sorry, but I didn't buy it from the start because, like, the way that he comes into Ponyville and stuff like that, if he was Spike's real dad, he would have been like, son, oh my God, where have you been? And stuff like that. Yeah.
Agreed.
So that was why I went, like, when he went, like, I'm your power, then I went, like, no, you're not. Because, like, if you were, you would have shown him love like really earlier on.
Well, the fact that dragons are not supposed to be all that loving made that a little easier to buy.
But still, though, he would be like telling him right away.
Yeah, I think like
Well, I mean, put it this way: if they said that, if they went the route of no, he was, but he came to Ponyville to cash in on Spike's new sweet life. They really wouldn't have had to change anything to make that work.
That's true.
Yeah, it would just be like, I need to disown my own family because they honestly aren't good for me. They honestly just want to use me for their own devices.
That could actually have been a good moral as well.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because like some families are going to be like that.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when it comes to certain topics.
Yeah.
Spike's $1 million baby. This sledge bum just wants to use his earnings. Twilight will train him to be the champion.
Oh my gosh.
But I think the thing that really had me like not really liking this episode so much was really like Sledge's design. That was so off-putting. Like, this is what I meant about cringe.
It's like a
pretty fitting for the guy you would buy being Spike's dad.
It's like a dragon version of Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
And Danny DeVito did work on My Little Pony before.
I almost thought you were going to say Danny McBride, which isn't 100 miles removed either, I don't think, although Danny DeVito is closer. Who am I thinking? I'm almost thinking of like who's like Jack Black but more unlikable, less charismatic.
Sam Miller.
Who?
TJ Miller. I mean TJ.
Oh
Miller.
yeah, TJ Miller. Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Like if you could put them
The
together,
Williams
that'd be
brothers.
this guy. Well, they just suck, but they don't look like this guy.
No.
Well, they usually do. I mean, I guess they've made some funny things. But anyway,
I'm guessing why a lot of people did not like this episode was they would say, I get like, how stupid are the main six for not questioning that's actually Spike's dad? Or they're just going to believe that it's really his dad. No.
I questioned him a little. I mean, if you're going to, like, of all the episodes you could say, how stupid are the main six for blank, but this would be pretty far down my list this season.
They were like, they were suspicious of something early on.
Because, like, how did they not pick up on the fact that if that guy was really Spike's dad, then he would have recognized that Spike was his son,
right?
Yeah.
And then again,
give some kind of excuse about like how he wasn't sure that Spike wanted his family anymore now that he had this gang around him. Like, I mean, they gave him a couple of lines there that actually suggest a guy who knew how to be patient and play his cards right to get what he wanted, which actually that's almost where it loses a small edge in the second half, where he's making it pretty obvious that he's taking advantage of the Spike. Yeah, he played his cards pretty well to get where he wanted to be. I have to say, like even doing Spike's list of stuff with him to earn Spike's trust.
Like for me, I didn't even know what was Sledge's intention until second half was like, I'm pretty much getting a hankering that you're just basically using him for like a thing. And it's like, I think it's like the thing was he didn't know what he wanted to do, like being in a position. He just got so acclimated to being taken care of by the pony. It's like, you know what, I'm going to use this meal ticket in the form of Spike in order to get myself my own cushy life 24/7 in comparison to like the cushy rehabilitation I had for my wings.
I just want to point out one thing. Yeah, I did rewind and watch Starlight Tub, and like, it's hilarious. Like it's so short, but like they have so many little custom like animations for it.
That's just so random, though.
Her face is just so like, what the heck just happened?
I mean, Josh Haber, he honestly can be pretty good at little character moments, like was it back between Starlight and Trixie and Road to Friendship? We're off on the road to friendship. We're like a buddy cop movie where the two characters are handcuffed together. Things like that.
So literally, like Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, I mean, we say a lot that he's solid but unspectacular, and I do think he can be spectacular when he has the inspiration. It just seems like that happens so rarely.
Yeah.
But he's solid. I mean, as much as I don't like him as the season editor, I will admit that his solid is better than his his par is better than a lot of writers above par, like Jillian GM Barrow. I feel like even at her best episodes, she's more stilted than he is.
But yeah, just want to give out like something like this is a situation like where I wish I was an artist, because I haven't seen this episode beforehand, but I was made aware of the big twist where like I was spoiled of the twist at the end that he's not actually Spike's father, and my immediate thought is I just imagine like basically it's like the post credit sequence goes like, "Hey Spike, speaking of like non-dragon things, how do you do that little like letter to your Celestia things?" Like, oh, Spike shows her. Then later, "Dear Princess," then like Smolder like, "Dear Princess Ember." And then like it cuts to the next scene and like Ember, Thorax, Discord, like all like punching their fists together.
What?
Oh yeah.
Like smacking their fists together next to Sludge. It's like, "I think I'll escape. I order you to take your beating like you like it." Yeah, but like, because like I just picture this not ending well for him, because like as I mentioned, when that it's like so hilariously bad. Spike is close best friends, basically family with three emperor, like three royal, like from royalty from three different kingdoms. He's a best friend on top, like so with like Ember, like Thorax, Twilight, and then going through all the other princesses too. He's also best friend to the Lord of Chaos Discord, and then like all the other main six are basically adopted like as a brother like figure too. So like champions of an entire kingdom. So it's like faking and breaking his heart. That's you have a bright future ahead for you, Sludge. You have a very bright future ahead.
He is thankfully an easily throwaway character.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like I really do wish to show him again getting his come up and I either see like all like Spike's friends ganging up on him at some like I picture that, or see like Ember being like, I'm going to give you the worst punishment known to all of Creaturedom, and then like we cut to it's like Pinky be like, "Wow, I can't believe someone volunteered to be my yak saxophone like player, buddy."
Oh no, that would been perfect.
That might be a little harsh even for him.
Or better yet, like the worst punishment ever: no pillows.
Yeah.
Or go outside and live with Angel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
deal with Angel.
Pinkamena took care of it.
No. You have to be in a live dramatic comedy performance made by Mudbriar while he's trying to entertain Mont Pie right now.
No. I got something better. I got something better. Yeah, I got something better. You sit down and you listen to Quibble Pants rant about Daring Do.
Okay, yeah.
The latest Daring Do book.
That's it. Yes.
But
listen to 2 hours of Quibble Pants ranting about how the latest Daring Do book sucks and how it's not to his standard.
Yeah. There was an episode of Freakazoid with something like that. He had to either take a prison term, or he had to listen to that character Fanboy for 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
What he didn't know is when he took the prison term is that they locked up Fanboy with him.
I haven't heard this much brainstorming for punishments since Starlight Glimmer.
I'm sorry. It's just Sludge decided to cross a line.
Well, honestly, though, I mean, like, as funny as it is as like a comic or something like that, I'm kind of glad that they didn't need to give Sledge this overt comeuppance, because I think like we kind of had an excess of episodes that go the route of wish fulfillment. Like everybody gets what they deserve.
I know it's
good or bad. Every little thing is corrected because that's what's feel good and not because that's what would actually happen. Like I'm okay with an ending like this where it's more what would happen. He gets called out and he flies away and he's not welcome back.
Yeah,
I know, but like you say, not get to his comeuppance, but like this is one of those situations where I feel it would really be earned just because, like I said, Spike is connected with so many figures of powers, including the Empress of the Dragons, who has absolute control over all the dragons. So it's like, yeah, his comeuppance could be quite easily justified.
Yes.
It could be quite easily given. I feel like put it in a scenario though that has more of a setup to it, like what's his name? Red Dragon guy comes back and Garble, and decides that he's really going to show Spike because his friends are so much tougher than Spike's friends. Like, yeah, you all ran away from us last time. Go on, Spike. Anyone you want. Well, hello, every pony. Spike said that you're going to join our games of ogres and oubliettes.
Yes.
I have a special role for you.
Level 1 villager.
But also, like, yeah, going into this episode, I really do like how, like, Smolder was just like completely just like flabbergasted by like how pathetic Sludge was. It's like just basically like, our reaction at the end was just basically summarized as like, no, like, that's not how dragons act.
No.
Like, it's like we tell stories around the fireside about betrayal and all that and cheer about that, but even we have standards.
Even we have standards.
I mean, granted, they never like overtly showed any of that before. So I mean, I guess there is a little bit of retconning some dignity into these dragons, but it doesn't not fit. So it's not too hard to roll with either.
Well, the thing is, like, actually, I feel it does fit just because dragons have their problems. They're very prideful. They're very a warrior-like culture. Very rude, brash. We were saying almost like what?
Well, it's more like they're the country hillbillies who at those city folk.
Oh, you mean like the Hatfields and McColts?
Yeah, I would see it's more just like
Hooffields and McColts.
I see dragons as more warrior, barbarianish culture.
Klingons.
Klingons go against, but like
we
what
have
else?
The yaks for that, but
we have yaks for barbarians.
But they were like the pure barbarians. But like I mean, like just a more warrior culture that's just like very gruff and like don't show emotion sort of thing. Thing is, like, what made Sludge particularly bad is, dragons have their flaws. Besides them, like Smolder and Ember, they have been shown getting better and trying to better their culture. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, even in dragon culture, they are very like prove yourself, like be tough and all that. Sludge was just pathetic. Like he was pathetic and manipulative, like in a very
when he shows up though, he is doing that whole "I don't need help from a bunch of ponies" thing.
Yeah, he does that at first, but like later on, like it just becomes. Yeah, he just becomes
advantage, but I mean, like the standard thing for a dragon to do is gather. Like, if you're a big enough dragon, the perfect thing for you to do is gather a hoard of gems and take 1,000-year nap and just never part with it. Like, it's there's room enough so that I mean, like, I don't think any of us were set to call foul on Sledge the second he said, "Oh yeah, the thing to do is just sit around and do nothing."
But we also seen like dragons and how they behaved before, right? A little bit. So,
I mean, it is like that. Like what the very first time we hear about a dragon, he's about to take his 1,000-year nap or however long in his cave with his hoard of gems, and that's apparently a thing that dragons do. Or I guess by the process of elimination, now the dragons that are big enough to be dragon lords but don't feel like doing so. Do that, but actually, I mean,
that brings back another point. Like I remind me, is like, we're seeing less and less of like the giant dragons nowadays.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Because I think the last really big dragon we've seen was Ember's father, and that was I think pretty much it. Besides, I think.
Yeah. Except for like a flashback to like
flashback sort of
Flash
things, sort of like that. But yeah, but in terms of like current continuity story, like current like timeline, we haven't really seen a large dragon in like quite some time.
It seems like now they're leaning towards the garble-sized dragons are more common.
Yeah, that's what the point I was trying to bring up is like, yeah, we're seeing a lot more like, yeah, that size dragon, like even like Spike's father, quote unquote, wasn't really that big, and it didn't even seem out of place for Smolder to be like, oh yeah, he's that. So I feel this is like a continuity thing you're sort of like pushing away from, sort of thing. So it's like, it's weird, but it's like one of those things where it's like one of those like continuity things that like they answer by not answering it, by like, oh, it matters when it matters, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It just feels like very much like if they keep on mentioning about dragon migration, it's like, did every single big dragon left everywhere?
Yeah.
Like I just don't know how to feel about that. That's just like, there goes all the big dragons.
Maybe the Dragon Lord sent the bigger dragons away, being like, I'm the one that's going to rule over these dragons. You go and get your own stuff elsewhere.
I mean, we saw plenty of big dragons in the dragon migration, and
That's true.
I don't know if that means that, okay, all of them have places to fly back to after the migration is over, or what, but
I guess if I wanted to make a like a logical guess, I would say like all the large dragons basically are fully developed and like also fully basically stable. Like they're like in human terms, they are fully stable, got full-time jobs and all, like, but in dragon terms, like they have their own area they control, their own horde, they like sleep over. So they're basically very passive and out of the way. Like they're just like, it's like, hey, I got a horde. I have like my golden horde stuff. I lay on top and I'll sleep for 1,000 years, sort of thing. So we just don't see him as much.
Yeah, that's true.
The way I took it, I think someone mentioned.
Anyone else is coming up with.
Yeah, like someone also mentioned like how like there's no dragons around to take up the dragon lord thing. I also mentioned the way I took away from that before is it's less that they're not around and more that the Dragon Lord passes his title on to the next generation. So it's not like just being replaced by another bigger, tougher dragon, but like being the next generation's like tough dragon that will eventually grow into the role, sort of thing.
Well, I mean, like Ember, though, Sled was going to let a bunch of garble-sized dragons compete for it, and he said that, okay, they're big enough, but Ember was not.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Ember was also his daughter, so he wanted to protect her.
You could read into it, sure, but I mean, like that was the excuse he thought he could use, and the other dragons, they're bigger than she is, but they're still garble-sized.
Yeah, but
also
I think
plus Spike's dad, quote unquote, he seemed pretty middle-aged. I mean, they weren't exactly trying to make him look young, so yeah, if he, like, the idea that he's getting much bigger, I mean, I think that to the extent that they seem to care about any continuity, like, the giant dragon does seem to be a particular kind of dragon.
Yeah, but
or maybe Garble will grow giant someday, and it's not as uncommon as we're thinking it's supposed to be now. I mean, they have a lot of room to play with it, I guess, is where we can only go so far with this.
Instant gigantfication of all the teenage dragons at this point. Meanwhile, Spike becomes a teenage dragon belt.
I think another way to possibly look at it is like they basically, because we already know how they have like a greed-induced growth. But what if it like a more natural, slow progression of that? Like basically, dragons that live a long enough time to build up their own like horde, like in territory they control, they just naturally expand with that. And like they don't like do it in like a big rapid growth like Spike did. That like basically they lose control, but more their body and size naturally grows with their territory and like the gold and jewels they have. And and it would also explain why Sludge basically was still the size of like a teenage dragon, because as we established, he had nothing. Except for a pillow now.
Maybe that is the explanation. That, like, when the giant dragons are the ones who, when they were younger, like,
they are the 1%
and went through reading bigness or that.
They are the 1% of dragons.
1% of dragons.
But also a scene that I really actually kind of liked and kind of hated was the scene with Twilight breaking her heart.
Yeah,
that was, like, really harsh.
I'm thinking a lot of fans would hate that.
Yeah.
And hate the episode just for that.
Just for that,
yeah.
I did it.
That's that.
Here's my issue I had with the scene. My main issue is I don't mind they push that far because it feels like something that would happen in this situation. I just hate how like it was like over in a snap. Like, oh, it was like Spike like it just happened and then it was over with, and then it had some. It was like I felt that scene should have been like at least twice as long. Like we could have cut down some of the dragon shenanigans and just like expanded it out and out. You really see like Twilight's emotional turmoil at that, because as that scene implied, that hurt Twilight. Like that really like emotionally like scarred her badly.
Well, I mean, as much as we love to speak in hyperbole on the internet, I mean, loved ones, they say harsh things to each other sometimes. I mean, like but Twilight's actually sort of level reaction is not as uncommon as some of these other episodes would have you believe, where everyone has to react at like a 10 to start out with. And I mean,
I think I wish they just like lingered on a little bit more and showed that Twilight was more depressed after the fact, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, like, I think it was more like Spike's reaction, how he snapped at her on the first thing she said about it. Like it seemed like it was always intended to be just a moment. I think it did pull away from melodrama there a little bit in favor of something that would actually happen, but it was almost, too brief. Like Spike, he snaps at the first thing she says. Twilight, tries to hold in her heartbreak, but doesn't really even have to for that long because, it's over a couple of minutes later. I mean, I think they could have fleshed that out at least to a complete moment, like an emotional sort of core of the episode.
Because let me see, I'm going to get the second.
But there is a very thin line between that and melodrama. Like it is a bit of a balancing act, and this one seemed like it played a little conservative, but I mean, there's another side to that too, and granted, some fans bring it all on. The more the better, like the Rarity Takes Manhattan sort of thing, where the second the ponies don't want to help her, she has an extended speech about how they're betraying her, and it's every pony for themselves in this town, and on and on and on until they have built up big enough so that they can then do the moment later with, what have I done? Oh, running out in the middle of the competition, long, solemn walks down the street in the rain, looking in empty windows, because I snapped at my friends. Granted, like a schizo, but because I snapped at my friends.
This going by because I decided to clock the scene from like when Spike broke her heart to like the next where they transition out. Yeah, that's not even 15 seconds. So it's like I felt that could have been longer. Like,
Jesus.
It's like because like it starts like when he says this thing. It starts at like 1728, and then like it transitions to like the Lakeless Smolder like 1744. So like 15 seconds ish.
Could have been more there, and I mean, granted, if you can't think of anything more, then I might still favor taking the conservative route over the melodramatic route, but Yeah, no, I felt like that was one of the kind of rushed parts of the episode. The crowbarring in this rift between Twilight and Spike.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Scootaloo episode where like they just inserted the "I can never fly" thing, like just randomly in the episode. Like, yeah, that's a good point, but it should have been like the whole episode and not little like 15-second area. Where like it reminded me of that, where it's just like it's a big, important, emotional cornerstone of the episode, but like it just happens and it's over. And okay, then.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody have any moments that like little, real talk moments like that they think got it perfect?
Well, the Twilight and Celestia talk, but I know that I'm the only one that likes that. So moving on.
I was going to ask you which one, but maybe I should. What's up?
Maybe the one from Mending Fences, if you count. You can count that as one.
No, from Horseplay. But I'm the only one.
No, he's talking about a different one. That, although I don't know which one. I mean, well, actually, the real talk moment I did like from Mending Fences is where Twilight is trying to do her heartfelt apology to the first batch of friends, and and they laughed off, and they're like, "Come on! I mean, we knew what kind of friends you were. We're not like delicate little snowflakes here. I mean, it's good to see you, but come on."
Oh, I also really did like the real talk moment with Twilight and Pinkie Pie near the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
Like that was like a moment I was like, oh, I honestly have more respect for Pinkie Pie at that moment. Like, he should be the prince of the friendship, but then other seasons happened, and I'm now like, Twilight are the only one left. So I might even be like,
and I know like Spike is not a favorite character, or maybe for someone but I really feel for him in this episode because like he falls too fast. He's too gullible with this.
I have good memories of the one in between Rainbow and Scootaloo in their first sister episode, The Sleepless in Ponyville. It's been a while since I've seen that, but yeah, like Scootaloo just kind of trying to swallow her shame as best she can and confessing everything to Rainbow Dash, and then Rainbow, like what she says to her after that, it seemed about right for what Rainbow would do, trying to whatever the opposite of letting someone down, at trying to accept the proposal like nice and easy, all casual like, and not too sweet and sticky Rainbow Dash way. And it comes out as exactly what a sweet moment between Rainbow and Scootaloo would be like at that time.
Yeah.
Rainbow saying yes to being this orphan pony's big sister.
Yeah. It's a sweet thing, that moment there.
It made me think of like that one of the Play Your Part song where he's like, "I'm so proud of you, little buddy."
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's not forget about the next episode after Sleepless in Ponyville, in which we got really real with Rainbow and Spitfire.
What?
Academy.
I just remember. Oh, you mean the conversation at the end where like Rainbow Dash tells on Lightning Dust and all that?
Yes.
Sorry, that was so rushed. But like that moment wanted to have its cake and eat it too so bad. Like, well, no, they do accept that Rainbow's right and give her everything she deserves for it. But first, it has to be like she really is giving it all up. Like, they need to drag it out to where, all right, if you're going to say that I don't see any problem with a tornado to clear the weather, I have to leave the Wonderbolts. And then Spitfire chases after at the end, like, no, wait, you didn't give me a chance to finish everything I should have, and then says everything she should have said the first. I mean, that, like, honestly, in context, it plays like Spitfire's trying to cover her ass before Rainbow reports it to somebody else and gets Spitfire outed for malpractice.
Malpractice lawsuit from Celestia. It's like, you know how dangerous that was? Can you imagine the amount of lawsuit potential this could be in your shows if you let this cadet into your show and she pulls a similar stunt like that to actual audience members?
I can imagine the group suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, just they have Spitfire after she apparently doesn't see a problem with it, chase after Rainbow and say everything in the most politically correct way she can that she's supposed to say it. I mean, it's like, yeah, sure. You nailed it, guys. That's exactly how that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. But also something I didn't like from this episode was Spike's or the large character like being on the table and showing himself to Twilight. Like I was just like, oh geez.
You mean when he's getting his nails filed?
Yeah, and when he's like in the ropes showing himself to Twilight, yeah. I know it was on an accident, but still though, it was just like, no, this is too weird.
I mean, this.
And then, like, speaking of like how I said earlier, like my follow up for this episode, yeah, I picture that the
rule stuff of that on the internet.
Oh my gosh, it's already begun. It's already begun.
Speaking of my follow, my follow up beatdown of them. Yeah, imagine that like the magical like tree Twilight was getting in on it. It's like, you cut your toenails on me, you will suffer.
Yeah, you will. Doing like it did with the Mean Six, just sucking every life out of him, being like slowly being like.
I don't know.
I know all of your fears.
Yes.
I would picture more like one of those ironic Ned Flanders as the devil punishment. So, you like cupcakes, huh? Yeah. Well, here, have all the cupcakes in the world.
Oh, man.
It could have been good as well. Especially if it was Pinkamena that made the cupcakes.
Oh, sure.
All of a sudden, she's like, Kim says, like, I've always wanted to try dragon cupcakes.
Oh, jeez.
Seriously, that thing will never die.
Honestly, though, like, even as far as just, like, out of context being annoyed by him or something, like, not so much. I feel like Sledge served the purpose he was supposed to serve. Like, heck, even in context, there were moments where, like, he was able to take note of the fact that Spike was sad. I mean, he was almost like he's, I don't know, I feel like he's a 90% jerk. Like, he's more selfish and opportunistic than he is malicious.
Right.
Like, I mean, like, who's someone who, even out of context, I just hated Babs Seed is probably the best example.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I do agree with
you could argue, I'd listen to an argument that said, no, you feel that way because of how they played her, not because of the character herself. I'd listen, but that's semantics in the end.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, are you trying to say that Babs Seed's first appearance is worse than, like, Sledge? Here in terms of like, okay, Babs was more malicious and enjoying over like the other Cutie Mark Crusader stuff, right? Meanwhile, Sledge was just like, oh, I'm just using Spike just for personal use.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even that so much because I mean, if you want to go with characters that are worse than both of them, I mean, we have villains who want to enslave all of Equestria, but the thing is, that's what they're played as. Sledge is played as a lazy, manipulative bum trying to scam his way into free food and comfort. Babs was played as just a poor, misunderstood soul lashing out to defend herself who just needed understanding and comfort. And no, it's not your job to let someone abuse you because they feel bad about themselves. Wrong moral there, guys. Wrong depiction, wrong approach.
But I really think like having an okay moral in this, like not trust strangers, and also like don't be gullible.
Yeah, if somebody crashes on your front doorstep and tells you he is your father,
maybe
don't believe.
Don't believe him. Don't believe him, even if he looks like you.
But also, like the moral of like Spike actually having to figure out what kind of dragon he is, right? Who he is.
Yeah, actually, you know what? What I said at the beginning of the episode, the episode that Dragon Quest should have been. Watching this through, I'm like, actually, kinda, yeah. The whole thing about how Spike actually belongs with the ponies, and they're the ones who raised them and who raised him, and they're the ones that have been good to him. I mean, okay, at Dragon Quest, the end of Dragon Quest, he's writing this letter to Celestia, and what did it say? Who I am is not the same as what I am, even though I was born a dragon. My time in Ponyville has taught me to be kind and good, and hey, my phoenix is hatching. I've got a lot to teach you about being a pony, and thankfully we're spared the episode on how much phoenixes suck too. But
because
okay, back to this. Like, I mean, as brief as it was, like the moment with the whole Spike working on his dragonishness and and how he has legitimate reasons to feel like he's missed out. I mean, again, it was kind of brief, but like to feel like he's missed out because he doesn't have his parents, he doesn't have his family, he doesn't have the 1, 2, 3s that even Ember can show him. In a few minutes, and but in spite of all of that, he doesn't have to feel like he doesn't know who he is because he's found that, he's happy with it, and the one who brought him there is Twilight, and I mean that's honestly a much sweeter and smarter resolve.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah, I just think like the episode is still pretty harsh on Twilight.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if you think about take out what's the word? Pan out from the world of love and ponies. Like, think about times that someone you love has said something at least that harsh to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
happens,
and how long it actually derailed anything.
Yeah, it derailed for years.
I mean, it would take something I think harsher than that to derail a relationship with a loved one for years. I mean, I think that. I mean, I'm sure I've
asked for it.
I mean, I'm sure, brothers, sisters, parents, whatever. I mean, we've had plenty of moments throwing that kind of thing around at each other, and then hour later, next day, whatever, okay, I guess I was being a little bit full of it. I'm sorry, and that's that. I mean, just honestly, in a sea of episodes with these overreactions, it's honestly really refreshing when I see something like that these days.
I can see some potential in that.
But I said Verity takes Manhattan, and I'm probably not doing myself any favors there, because I think that's one that most people go yeah, more of that, all for that. Dave Polsky's best episode. Woohoo!
It's not Dave Polsky's best.
I agree with you.
I really don't like that episode and ham-fisted generosity Rarity that turned on its heel.
Understandable.
Yeah, but I just also realized Sledge is quite literally an antagonistic Zephyr Breeze.
Yes, I was waiting for someone to make that comparison. He's like Zephyr Breeze, but worse.
Yeah, his name definitely
says a lot.
His character. Sludge.
Yeah, definitely.
Sludge.
So Zephyr was almost better at continuing to twist situations to his benefit, even when people didn't want him there.
And learn from his mistakes, right?
Wow.
And also, it looks like Zephyr Breeze, and it looks like Zephyr Breeze would take more pride in his appearance and also brush his teeth.
Yes, I think he would take a bath. Yeah,
he would take a bath. Yes,
by himself. Yeah,
I think. Yeah, he'd be doing. The only thing is that once you get him in the hot tub or whatever, he'd never come out.
Yeah, unless he could get a Rainbow Dash to do it for him.
Oh my god.
Oh joy.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll admit that those exchanges with Zephyr and Rainbow Dash, it's like that's okay. That I'm gonna say 1% cringe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But before I fall off my chair, moving on.
Is everybody ready for final thoughts? Maybe.
I guess I will say like a couple things about this episode. So about Sludge not being Spike's real dad, it's kind of similar to how I felt towards the Mean Six about missed opportunities. Like how this was like a missed opportunity of us seeing, Spike's real one of Spike's real parents, but it turned out that wasn't the fact, and I didn't really feel like the same way towards this episode as in the Mean Six, but I'm guessing that some fans might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the general feeling I get from people, because I didn't see many people's reactions, because I just wanted to be like, I'm just gonna hold my own reactions until getting into this reaction here, and then just spurt it out, because this episode was just like a little bit better than Meltdown, but I wasn't coming out of it feeling like triumphant like I was hoping to after reading the synopsis earlier. I mean, it was like a predictable outcome. At the same time, I was like, I don't know, maybe that predictable outcome wasn't as good as I thought it was. And I'm just now feeling like, gosh, I just wanted some actual solid good Spike episodes like in season 4. Not this. Not mediocre to like somewhat good, but not really like going into like good territory episodes.
Right.
But at least it was better than Yagiri said.
Anything's better than Yagiri said.
Season 4. I mean, I feel like I'd take this over Power Ponies just because it didn't take 2 acts to get going on anything all that much fun.
Oh yeah, definitely over Power Ponies. Like I said, I didn't say all of season 4 because I don't like Power Ponies. I just don't like Power Ponies.
So the other thing I want to say about this the other thing that I want to say about this episode was that I loved the relationship that's building between Spike and Smolder.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those baby dragons, you realize they're about the same age.
Smolder and Spike ship.
I'm sorry. I'm still for Team Ember. Ember's my girl.
You gotta remember.
Yeah, I think I like Ember.
Like, imagine Smolder being like the Scootaloo in this equation.
Only because she's got Scootaloo's colors.
I would actually imagine Smolder being like Rainbow Dash and Spike being Scootaloo.
Yeah.
I could get behind that. I could get behind that kind of relationship.
I can't really see it. I just sort of like feel like Smolder's like the somewhat like realizing about her own emotions, like big sister that's like guiding him along.
That's the way I see it. Is like it feels weird because she acts like a big sister. At the same time, it feels like she's a like a little sister. It's like she's like like a twin sister. Like
she's a sister figure. She's a sister figure. Whether it be big or little or twin.
They do seem like they're about the same age.
Yeah, because she's actually higher than him, right?
Yeah, she's a little taller,
a little taller.
She had her wings first, so like it's implied she's slightly older than him.
Yeah.
Older.
I got the perfect analogy. She's like there's cousin that is like slightly older cousin.
Cousin?
Oh yeah. I can get behind that.
Them then.
Well, now you can't ship them anymore.
I don't think that works with first cousins.
Unless you live in the South.
Unless it's Japanese anime shipping.
Well, you can ship anyone with Japanese anime shipping.
You can ship anyone, but you can ship anyone with the kitchen sink.
Yay!
Just wait until they make an anime about an anthropomorphic
and they'll do it
kitchen
anyway.
sink.
Hey, I already shipped someone with the kitchen
Charles,
sink.
did you say an anthropomorphic kitchen sink?
Yes.
They actually,
wow, and
they
I
actually-
thought the Attack on Titan anime had gone too far. Apparently,
No.
Apparently, I hadn't seen too far yet.
They actually have a category for it. They call it sink fiction.
Yes, sink fiction.
Are you?
Oh my god.
No,
What
it's
in
true.
the world?
Don't look it up, Jen. Unless you like water.
No.
It will sink your good mood.
I don't get it. Why does
Ship and
TV shows
sink.
have so many different categories for kitchen sink?
Wow! My don't let your spirit of don't let your spirits sink.
Don't sink that ship.
Yeah.
Well, it's ship or sink.
Sink the sink. Come on. Let's
Ship
go.
the
Sink or
sink.
swing. Sink or swing.
Ship and sink.
Ship and sink.
But moving on.
Oh my god! Are you serious? Is there really something out there called ship sink
Yes.
fiction?
And please don't look it up.
You know what? Ship Mudbriar Mon sink. Why not?
Yeah, like the toaster stuff is better. Don't
Did
look
you say
that up.
toaster?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jen, you don't know about the Persona 3 fandom, but the
With that
toaster is a
image
very
in my head.
prominent fixture in the shipping culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burn
Tell me.
my
Okay.
bread.
Last question. Is there something with the waffle iron?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Are you
wow.
kidding me?
No.
Nothing will
And
beat
don't
table
Google
kun.
blue waffles, please.
Table kun.
Wait, what about lamp coon?
Table
And
coon.
refrigerator coon?
Okay, before we
I
start
wanna-
getting into the
What
light
about
here,
waffle maker coon?
Next time on Tomoko-chan.
Yeah,
Waffle
before we
is my-
start
wait a
our
minute,
audience, maybe
waffles
we should move on.
Waffles are my waifus.
Yeah,
but,
I have Googled
Stay
that.
away from the Teen Titans.
I need to go to bed. Oh,
Yeah, we do.
Closing thoughts in this episode.
We need to go to bed before we start looking at our kitchen appliances in certain different ways.
The plumbing. But this episode is certainly it's not a terrible episode. It's not like saying like some of the episodes we got a spike in the past, but it's like an episode with a concept that would have been much more preferred in the earlier seasons, like most particularly season 2. This could have easily replaced Dragon Quest, and we would have been completely fine with that. Like,
it's honestly
I don't
much
agree with
closer to
that.
the episode that Dragon Quest was compared to at the time from Generation 1.
I would rather watch Dragon Quest than this episode.
Not me.
ooh.
Although we
Okay.
did get a few things from Dragon Quest that we
Yeah.
that are technically lasted.
I mean, for me, I would actually agree with you, Day Lover. I mean, like, I kind of prefer Dragon Quest in some ways over this.
What is the episode with the dragon migration?
That is
where,
Dragon Quest.
No. The other one where they
Oh,
just the
Gauntlet
dragon
of Fire.
coming in.
Gauntlet of Fire.
The best, one of the best Spike episodes.
Gauntlet of Fire. Yeah, I would
One of the
much
best
rather
Spike
Not that
episodes.
Dragon Quest we're talking about, the one where he goes to the dragon migration the first time, and
No, I want to watch that more than this. Yeah.
you want to watch them both more than this.
Yes, definitely.
I'll take Goblet of Fire any old week.
Yeah.
I
Gauntlet of
appreciate
Fire.
Equestria
Gauntlet of
games
Fire,
over
actually,
this
I'd
episode.
rather see this than Gauntlet of Fire as well, but Gauntlet of Fire was still better than Dragon Quest, I will say.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gauntlet of Fire is definitely better than Dragon Quest.
Gauntlet of Fire is that's the gem in Spike's episodes. That's the real
For me, it's
gem.
Equestria games, I think I'd have to say.
Yeah, me
And I
too.
actually like How to Change a Changeling.
Or Inspiration.
That's a good one. That's a real good one too.
You gotta understand
But
about
yeah,
the
Dragon Quest and Secret of My Excess, I think, wrote the book on, and maybe Spike at Your Service. I think those three, and Else Well That Ends Well. Jeez, it's a long list, but yeah, they kind of wrote the book on Spike Backlash.
Yeah. I just hate the idea of like Spike Backlash. I mean,
Wait, let's not forget about Princess Spike.
Well, I mean, just like how those episodes made him into the butt monkey character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you can treat him better than this.
And he still gets the physical abuse. Hooray.
Yeah. I think that leads into my comments. Honestly, I mean, the episode. I mean, I don't think there's only it's not as cringeworthy as people are saying it is. Except that one scene. That's about it. Other than that, I'm kind of glad that Sludge. I'm hoping that Sludge is just a one-shot character and we never see him again. Yeah. And if we never see Sludge again, I don't mind. And part of me kind of was like, oh my gosh, was part of me like I just felt angry on behalf of for Spike that a dragon would do this, do that to him, like just lie in order to get in on what Spike's got. I'm like, that's why I was asking, like, does anybody believe this crap? Because I don't. And I'm thinking like that. There's no way dragons are all as a whole are like him. No.
Maybe some dragons like Gobble and stuff.
Smolder hit it on the head when she she acknowledges that they can be rude and rebellious.
But not
like that. But not like Sludge.
No,
not like Sludge. So Smolder hit it on the head. He hit it on the head pretty much there. So I mean, she acknowledges that she
doesn't have like an example of how dragons are not. Like he just keeps saying that's what being a dragon is, and she just keeps saying no, they're not. I mean, I almost wonder if the implication is that Smolder's getting a sense of like pride that wasn't necessarily there before.
Yeah,
it sounds like it could be. It could be, but also I wonder because of this episode. Now I wonder this is now going to place a seed in the fandom. Like, okay, who are Spike's parents? Are they like Applejack's parents for one thing?
Oh boy,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I've learned not to rely on.
If they pull the dead parents thing for Spike's parents, that would just make me sad. That would just make me sad.
Well, then again, like it could be a situation where we could never know because Spike's parents never saw him after he hatched.
But then again, you're going to have those people like, oh, I wonder, is that going to be a real? Will they elaborate or something or whatever? Like we got an idea of who. I mean, when Applejack's parents, we got seasons later. We now know who they are. We know who they are pretty much. So I'm wondering if that's going to have, if we're going to have the same treatment of, I wonder if we're going to have the same treatment of like Spike's parents for that too. But yet the one heartbreaking thing is that, okay, as you said, Alex, that they never saw the egg.
Yeah, but I also
they never saw it hatch. I've learned not to count on this show to take advantage of what's on the table anytime soon necessarily.
Yeah.
Right. And if they don't, like, expand on Spike's family, not necessarily a bad thing either. I mean, some things can stay mystery or whatever, or if they're not integral to the main storyline, then what's the point? It's just filler.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a worthy part of Spike's character.
True.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True. It is. I agree, because he's now wanting to find. The one thing that was good about it is that Spike wanting to know more of the conflict that he had about, okay, he's been raised with ponies, but yet he's a dragon, and he kind of has this conflict, like, okay, I'm a dragon, but yet I'm raised around ponies. Like, who am I? Who or what am I?
Yeah. My last thoughts is also like, now we know that dragons are presumably good parents, right? So how in the world did the ponies get a hold of Spike's egg? Still,
I'm thinking dragons parent like birds do. I would say,
yeah.
They're like, okay, we got an egg. Time to fly.
Well, if it's still an egg, though, birds won't push eggs out of their nest.
Oh, you don't know. Well, birds won't. But what if dragons do? What if dragons do? Be like, oh boy, they can be like, oh boy, our eggs are hatched. It's time for them to fly. Whoever comes out, we're gonna drop them off this cliff. Whoever comes out of their shell
deserves to live.
To live. Who doesn't gets just smashed at the ground.
Or sent to Ponyville.
Or sent. Oh, that's just
by magic. That's the only way that they can open that egg with magic. Sounds weird.
The shell opens and there's like an alicorn dragon in there.
Oh no!
The trigger parents are like, how's that
dragon
happening?
coming.
Wait, it's Flurry. Wait, I just had an idea. Somebody draw Flurry Heart as dragon. Just do it. Somebody draw Flurry Heart as dragon. I want to see this crap. I want to see that what happens.
Yeah. But I really do like
Alicorn Dragon has never happened in the history of Equestria. I guess you'll just have to buy the toys of that too.
Yeah.
In order to get the little booklet that explains about the biology of said Alicorn Dragon, and then once it comes out to being like to find out more about this, just look at Princess Spike, and then you just rage quit on everything.
All right. Any other final thoughts?
Another solid B grade episode from Josh Haber, I'd have to say. It had some nice little character moments. It played around with some of the friendships and general relationships forming just fine. It didn't have like shoot for the moon ambition, which was which I don't know. I guess would be perfectly acceptable in other seasons. And this season's it kind of honestly makes it one of the top episodes for me, which I'm wondering if that's Josh Haber's real plan here, but not seriously though. It was fine, and the fact that it might be getting more backlash than something like a non-compete clause, for example, because of a scene where Spike and Twilight have a harsh moment like that. If that's honestly true, that I think is the final bit of proof that the most cheesy, wooden, fake, stilted writing will still be more readily accepted in this fandom than anything a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Than anything too close to reality.
But nah, the show is supposed to be a escape from realism, though.
True.
No, it's supposed to be an engaging, enjoyable story, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that can also be an escape too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
I give this episode a C+.
Yeah.
I give it a C+. I'm the fact that it's a subject factor of Spike, mental factors of Spike prevents me from going any lower, but I feel like it'd be way too generous if I gave it a little higher. But I'm thinking okay, it is average, but just a teeny tiny bit above. Teeny tiny bits. That's why I say C+.
All right, then.
I think I said all that I wanted to say with it. But I still are raising more questions that I should, so I'll just give it to the next person. I don't ramble on.
Hey guys,
your waitresses.
Yay! Kisses.
Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you guys happy 8th anniversary.
Happy 8th anniversary.
Oh my god, it is.
This is the 8th anniversary episode.
Oh god.
Wait. 8th anniversary?
For My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. It is October 10th.
What?
Hooray!
Happy anniversary!
8 years old.
8 years old!
Yes.
Oh my gosh, 8 years. Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm. You just gonna have to be like, where was I 8 years ago? Oh yeah, I was watching it when the Hub first aired. I did not know that the show would carry on for so long, and I would be such an avid watcher of it.
I didn't actually start watching it. I didn't know it was around since 2010. I didn't start watching it till 2012.
Yeah,
I was 2 years late to the party.
I didn't start watching it till 2012, but I knew about it and it was like the end of 2012 that I started watching, but I knew about it like near like the spring of 2012.
Right.
And that's kind of like when I hated it.
Uh-huh.
I just or at least it didn't make sense to me why it got so popular.
Yeah, same. But then I watched a few and I was still kind of like and then I think we all had that one that was like, oh, that one that kind of hooked us in. I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't cringeworthy. They know what they're doing here.
For me, it was like, first what happened is my friend in college told me that just had to tell me that her male friend was watching My Little Pony and claiming that he was a quote-unquote brony and trying to get her into it, and I'm sitting there like, why? Is it a good show now or something? And then after
my ex-boyfriend.
Well, I mean, for me, it was just like after hanging around the internet and hearing the gist of the story, like I gave it, I think, 2 chances. I gave it a chance. Wasn't all that impressed by Sweet and Delete, but then, like, May the Best Pet win after laughing out loud like 3-4 times at that. I was, okay, maybe it's got something going for it.
My ex-boyfriend subjected it to me, like, when we had no cable in the apartment and we're like desperate for something to watch. He just all of a sudden pulls out this My Little Pony, and I'm like, what? And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, he's gone mad. He might just like, oh my gosh, I almost thought about like calling my mom and be like, Mom, help me. Come get me. He's gone mad. He's watching My Little Pony now. What's going on? So I don't understand what's going on here.
Mother Nature, God tops it.
Exactly. But then I remember watching the theme for the first time, and I was like, well, that was girly. And it kept going there. So after, I think it was like, it was Apple. No, it was the one where like Applejack, Applebuck season. I'm sorry, Applebuck season was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, that's interesting. Pony not wanting to trust it, not wanting to work herself hard and everything. And then the one that, of course, I think I already say it, but yeah, the one that hooked me completely was Dress for Success. Yeah, Dress for Success and
Suited for Success.
Yeah, Suited for Success. I'm sorry, yes. Suited for Success. Yes, and then Art of the Dress, of course. Yeah. And I was freaking hooked, and I was like, oh wow, that's a good song. And then the one that was like, and then the scene afterwards where, and seeing Rarity's like thought process and everything, I'm like, oh okay, I get it. I see what her process is. Okay, she's not just a prissy thing; she's working hard here. And then when everyone's like, it's not exactly what we wanted, and she's like, don't worry, I'll redo them. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what every graphic designer or artist has gone through. What else do they know? Yeah. Like, what else?
Tell me what musical the Art of the Dress song is from.
Putting It Together.
The song is originally called "Putting It Together."
Putting It Together. I just don't know.
It's not actually the most popular musical.
I just don't know what show it's from. I just remember the song is called "Putting It Together." I think
yeah,
the song is
"Sunday in the Park with George."
That's it. That's it. I just don't know. I never knew what the show was, but I had an idea of what the song was based from, though. Mm-hmm. But still, even to this day, I still love Art of the Dress. I mean, whenever I'm making costumes, or like the last time I was making a costume customization, I turned that song up all the way to 12. Okay, I will blast that song. I will blast that song while I'm stitching, or I'm designing a piece or something. I will blast that song all the way. I don't care.
I should make a top 10 song list someday.
It gets me in the zone. It gets me in the zone, honestly. But happy 8th anniversary, everybody!
Yay!
Times like this, you remember, we're not going to get to 10, apparently. Well, Bronies could. The 4th Gen show isn't. But meh.
Unless we get more.
Question girls will get us there.
Hey. Well, we definitely can't get to 21 because that means they're legal. That means they're legal to buy alcohol.
That's true.
Oh well. That'd be just like way too much anyway. It's like, how long it's gone? 21 years.
Yeah. I just feel it's so funny because like this, I also got into the show from my ex-boyfriend, and I actually converted 5 into becoming bronies.
Me too. We started normal and then we ended up becoming bronies ourselves. Thanks to our exes.
Yeah, and like I remember, like my episode was actually the very first episode that got me hooked. Yeah. So I'm one of the ones that have been there since the start.
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny for me. Like,
and my OC changed so much. So
that's true.
Well, here's a question for everybody. What was the thing that made you kind of stay in this fandom? What was it that made you stay?
Before we continue this, I might as well sign off the chat.
Before we get into philosophical conversation.
But I guess see y'all next week.
We're gonna have a nice long friend bond forming conversation, and you don't get to hear it. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Realms of your imagination.
But first, sleep.